All right, so you guys took a minute to do that. Just turn and share with each other of what you discovered about freezing.
It's freezing. It feels like an ice pop. It looks rock solid, and I think when something is frozen, it would usually have all the particles freezing on the inside. I agree with you, Molly.
I think freezing is, well, I have a list of temperatures. 270 degrees Kelvin, 0 degrees Celsius, 32 degrees Fahrenheit. Maybe frost ice, or ice will be on the object. Metal will stick to you. If you've seen a Christmas story, you know what I'm talking about. And then I have a drawing. It's not the best. So here's a finger. It's going to stick to the metal if it's frozen, and then there's some frost on it.
I think freezing means,
When a liquid, for example, is frozen and turns into ice because it gets so cold. One example to support my writing is when you are outside and it is 20 degrees. You may see ice that was originally water, but it was so cold that it froze into ice. And then here's a picture of water with
So
Tell us what's your conception?
my conception is there are two things that freezing is. So one is that the temperature is 32 degrees Fahrenheit or 0 degrees Celsius or under, or it's going to be when a liquid gets extremely cold that it hardens, and that process is called freezing.
Anyone else want to share? What do you think freezing is?
Freezing is not just cold, it's really cold. When I see an object freezing, I see that the object turns into ice, or you can say it like this. For example, today is a really, really cold day. It is freezing outside.
Okay. Natalie, you have an idea?
Freezing means when a thing is frozen, it is going to be a solid. It feels cold, hard, and probably slippery. Like when a liquid freezes, it turns into ice, and ice is cold, hard, and slippery.
So are all things that are frozen cold?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or when your tongue spits.
Make sure that we can see everything. Okay, guys. So sounds like we have a couple of different answers. Alan, what did you come up with? Nice and loud.
If you are like turned into like solid ice, not like soft snow.
So if something is frozen, raise your right hand if you think it's going to be cold. If something is frozen, raise your right hand if you think it will be cold. Raise your left hand if you think it could be any temperature. Celia?
I think it could be any temperature because, like, what if it's like naturally hot, but it's at a freezing temperature? So then it
What would let you know that it's frozen?
putting a thermometer by it.
So you need a thermometer. So is it a function of temperature?
Well, in that case, yes.
Okay, can you give me an example of something like that?
Like maybe it's radioactive element in the action and it's getting hot, but it's also very cold in the air. Maybe?
A radioactive element that's hot. Celia, is this frozen? Would you say that that's frozen?
Probably not because it's in the environment where we are, and I don't think it's freezing.
Okay. Is this table freezing? Is the glass here frozen?
Probably not.
No.
Huh?
No.
Anybody think differently? Carter?
Well, if it wasn't on, like it would be freezing if we were in this, not freezing but cold.
What would this be like if it were freezing? This glass?
Probably have a crack in it
Why?
because glass is fragile
Okay.
and
And it would just crack because it was cold?
probably
Because it's cold. Or could it crack just naturally? You're saying it would have a crack in it if it was frozen. I'm just wondering why.
Because I'm not used to the coldness, and like it's for something that it's used for something that's hot, like water, hot water, and probably it's not used to making it cold.
Okay, Justin, real quick, then we're gonna move on.
I do know it's kind of frozen. It's basically sand, and it's like freezing. It's at an extremely hot temperature, and it turns into glass with like some heat, extreme heat, like I don't know, over 200 degrees Fahrenheit.
Okay.
I don't know, but I know when sand is freezing, not freezing, burning like really really hot, it turns into glass.
Okay. What we're gonna do right now is we're gonna conduct a little bit of an activity where you're gonna heat something up and you're going to then take it out of the heat. Now on here I have wax. And wax, you're gonna feel it and you're gonna make a description of it. Okay? And then what's gonna happen is I'm gonna give you some hot water. You don't have to write it down right now because I have it all for you in the sheets. Okay? Like we usually do. I'm gonna pour some very, very hot water into this bowl. And each of you have one. And I'm gonna ask you to take just a little scoop of this wax. And you're gonna put it into this cup. Okay, so it's not very much. And then I'm gonna ask you to very carefully, without submerging this, which means making it go under the water, that's why we don't wanna put a lot of wax in there, because it'll go under the water. We wanna float it. Just don't play with it, because if water gets in here, we'll have to start over. You do not want water to get in here. You're gonna put a little bit of wax in, you're gonna float it on top of it with really hot water. You can measure the water, we want the water to be about 70 degrees, or you can just indicate what the temperature is. Measure the temperature. Record the temperature. Put it in, and you're gonna make some observations about what you see. So let me show you what you have. You have a procedure on the back here that you'll read through. And in your reading journal, your writing journal,
Aquí,
your
en tu
science,
cuaderno de
your
escritura de
science
ciencia,
journal, you're gonna answer some of the questions that are here. For example, what happens to the wax when you place the container in the warm water?
cuando pones el
So
contenedor
your
dentro del agua
responses
tibia.
are gonna be
¿Ok?
in your journal. You can draw a
Todo va a
picture.
ser aquí.
And I'll
Y vas a
have
hacer
one
un
more
dibujo.
thing for you to do. I want you to record,
Una cosa
you'll see
más.
them up here, but you're gonna record what you observe here.
Y todo lo que está observando lo vas a poner
The
en esa
first
hoja,
thing
lo
you're
vas a-
gonna do
¿ok?
is make your recording of the wax just as it is right now. Record what it is. I put color, shape,
El
size,
wax,
texture, and
este,
anything else
es
you want
el color,
that are the characteristics or attributes of what this is. Describe it as best you can. I put a couple of them there for you so that you know what to do. And you're gonna talk about, you're gonna write your description here, and next to it, you're gonna say what causes it to change, what you think might cause it to change from there. The next one is what's gonna happen after you put it in the water. It says, when it's in the water. You put it in the water, this one only, watch it for a little bit, and make your observations. What happens to it? Does it stay the same? Does it change? And if it changes, what changes? And why do you think it changes? You may reach the end of your knowledge. Don't we often reach the end of our knowledge? Be comfortable with that, doesn't matter. The last one is then, when you're done with that, and it's done whatever you think, it's done, take it back out,
Último
set it
es
down,
sacarlo
and
para
observe
afuera
what happens.
y observa lo que sucedió.
And write that
¿verdad?
down.
Y lo escribe. Ese es
Okay.
el último.
And then, as you make these observations, you can begin to answer the questions here.
Y con
that
esas
talk about
observaciones te va a ayudar
what
a
you're
contestar
observing.
las otras preguntas.
And then I want you to
Un papel te va a
compare
ayudar
that
a
to what
contestar
you
las
know
otras preguntas, ¿ok?
about ice and what you know about water. Okay? That's what we've been talking about a lot. All right? Yes?
After we take
the container out, should we put it back on the tray or on the table?
Oh, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
We can always wipe things up. Don't be so worried. What's really important, Jesse, and I'm glad you brought that up, what's really important is making very careful observations of what you see. Careful observations of what you see. And two, why do you think that's happening? Careful observations of what you see, and why do you think that's happening? I want you to be able to explain that. You're going to be with partners, I'll put you in partners, and that's what you're going to do. Okay? So as soon as you're ready, you're going to go by your tray. I'll put you in partners. You're going to go by your trays, and you're going to begin to make the observation of the wax as it is. Don't leave yet. The wax as it is, and then I'll give you some hot water, and that's when you can start the next part. So stay where you are. You can cut that off for a minute.